Hello and welcome to the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship here at MotorMotion E-Series, and we welcome you all back for the penultimate round of the season. A 10-week season, only 2 races to go, and today it's round 9. We're going to crack into all of the details in a few moments' time. First of all, of course, our primary sponsor, Player1 Sim Gear. Go and check them out on www.p1simgear.com.au for all your sim racing hardware needs. Of course, a massive thanks to MotorMotion E-Series. Go and check them out for all the news, articles, and everything to do with sim racing in GT7 land. And that, of course, is the website, www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. And, of course, TrackSpot TV bringing you the broadcasting today. Go and check us out at www.trackspot.tv for all your professional-grade immersion, graphics overlays, commentary, and multi-platform streaming. And, of course, it's going to be myself today, George Cook, leading you through the commentary, and joining me in the commentary box will be Nick Pautasso. Nick, of course, it is now the situation of round 9. It is Autopolis International Racing Circuit for a 50-minute race today. I think it's a great place to go racing, personally. I think you might have a slightly differing opinion on it, though.
Yes, g'day George, g'day viewers. Yeah, we are here at the penultimate round at Autopolis. Definitely not one of my favourite strong suits of a track. It's not one that I favour with, because myself being on the DS4, well now, apparently now within the recent past, the DS5 controller. Now I've actually made myself a little cheeky upgrade on my birthday only a couple of days ago, making a cheeky upgrade to the PS5, so now I get to feel the sensation of a DS5 for the first time when it comes to next round at Mount Panorama, so I'm excited for that. But Autopolis, it's going to be a track where it's going to really take a big toll on the tyre wear as the main priority for the drivers, to save the tyres, look after them, nurture them. And this is definitely a tyre whisperer track for the likes of Ando Scott, Gopi Mahendrajit, and I would say Guy Barber as well. But the Supra seems to be very, very weak on tyre saving, on the conservation. So maybe, potentially, there could be a dark horse victor in this round.
There may indeed, and of course with Gopi Mahendrajit leading the championship, he's looking for a good result today. He has been excellent on the strategy execution, but he's definitely have been, all of them have been struggling, in fact, in the last few rounds. Daytona, Watkins, Interlagos, all quite tire-killing scenarios. So now that we are out of our United States leg of the calendar, we head, of course, into the final couple of courses here in the Asia Pacific. It is, of course, a 50-minute race today in the afternoon at Autopolis. All racing tyres are permitted, but the racing mediums, of course, are mandatory for the race. You'll see a lot of the drivers starting on those compounder tyres, seeing how far they can get in this 50-minute race. We have seen a real mix of one-stop and two-stop strategies. Most of the drivers in the top lobby A, they've really been favoring this one-stop. They're able to get the tires to a certain distance. They're able to pit. They're able to get things kind of sorted and under their belt. And only one or two people have, sorry, the two-stopper that is, only one or two people have been favoring this one-stop strategy, which has been really, really tricky to execute. In fact, at all these races, it seems possible, but it always ends up losing you positions.
It is possible because the fuel tank lasts quite a fair amount. So it's only set to 3 times fuel burn, and you obviously got a full tank of fuel. But with a track like Autopolis, where there are a lot of slow start, medium, a lot of hairpins, and a lot of flowing corners, you actually save quite a lot of fuel around this track. It's just the only thing that really concerns drivers is going to be the tires actually making the end of the fuel tank. So if you were to run, you know, zero tire wear, like no tire wear at all, but just the running of the fuel consumption at 3 times, hey, you know, you can run the whole track for 30 minutes, 35 minutes in this 50-minute race, and then all you have to do is throw on a set of softs and just go full send to the end of the event. But mediums are going to be a very interesting tire around here. Obviously, the middle compound compared to our softs and that we have on offer. No weather looming around, so it is going to be dry running for our drivers. So let's see if that one stop is going to be the optimum strategy.
Indeed, yeah, we will see. So the final thing to note, of course, is the weather, as Nick has alluded to, and of course it is looking great out there, sunny. And so S11 with a little bit of alpine mist. Do with that information what you will. Basically, no worries. It's going to be a clean afternoon of driving out there for the drivers, and we are, of course, looking very much forward to seeing what they're going to be doing out there. The couple of key battles happening. So in the standings, Jack Finch, Chip Berry fighting for the AM title, Pro-Am. It is Hasel1 versus Alberton. Both of those very, very close battles. Then, of course, we have Matt McCullum. Total domination of the Pro Series at the moment. He's on he's above 300 points, and Glenn Mead is his, and Matthew Joynson, actually, his closest competitors. Keep an eye on those 3 today. They're qualifying position will be absolutely key. Then Gopin Mahinajit, of course, leading in the elite title. No one's going to be challenging him, I think, at the end here. I don't think it's a mathematical certainty right now, but I think he may seal that. If he gets a win today, or even a top 2, I think he may seal the elite title today. So that's a big one for Gopin Mahinajit. Guy Barbara, he's the one charging after him right now, but some significant points behind still, but ahead of Nick Pfaff. So keep an eye on those 2. And then, of course, in the team's title, the battle of the 2 dominant teams this season, Mad Turtle Racing and Hooncorp. And it really does feel like it has been tortoise and the hare. Hooncorp have had the fastest drivers, but the Turtle Racing team have had the most consistent results. So at the moment, we've got the sprinting hare running after the Mad Turtle, crawling his way to the finish line, but still in the lead. So big day for Mad Turtle Racing, Nick. And honestly, if they can't keep this consistent run going of consistent points gathering, it may not be race wins, but if you're getting those podiums consistently, you will eventually beat the hare that is Hooncorp Esports.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, being a foundation, being part of the Mad Turtle Racing camp, it's been a huge talking point within our team's chat and with our owner, Matt, Mitch, and Mitch Gray, the team boss of Mad Turtle Racing. So our main objective was mainly to have some fun, have a few laughs, you know, get together in some practice sessions, have a bit of banter. Because while we take it very seriously, it is our first season in the MotorMotion E-Series GT3 Championship. It is our first season competing for Mad Turtle Racing. So if we can deliver Mitch his first victory and, you know, history books as the winning constructor, you know, that is a big win for us because we have a great roster of drivers. Myself, obviously the reserve driver for the elite class, Lyle Rensberg, who'll be making an appearance tonight. It's substituting myself for this round. And then obviously Glenn Mead fighting in the Pro Championship, Joe Rudinsky in the Pro-Am, and then Bob Massey, as well as we had Brian Everett joining us in the AM class. So we have a great leadership, we have a great team, but Hooncorp, with their consistency, especially last round of Daytona, where they managed to get 3 out of the 4 victories, it was really strong, and that really worried us coming into these last couple of rounds.
There we go. The battle of the 2 top teams is going to be going down to the wire in the last couple of rounds. Some housekeeping before we get started today. course, we are beginning with the Group A Elite and Pro coverage. Unfortunately, though, the replay has been lost to the ether for Group B, so that unfortunately has not been made available to us here at TrackSpot TV. Unfortunately, that means that today there is no Group B coverage. We do apologize on behalf of the MotorMotion admins for that, but these things do occasionally happen. We are going to be guaranteeing both Group A and Group B coverage for the finale because we need to know how these races end at the end of the season. However, we will be bringing you the results for Group B at the end of the race for Group A. So fear not, you will at least get an idea of what happened in the overall race. Right. I think we are ready to go. I understand the cars are waiting for us on grid now, so we will see you down there, and it is now time to go racing. Here we go. Round 9 begins, and Gopin Mahinajit qualified on pole position, followed by Guy Barbara. And Ando's best qualifyings of the season. He's in 3rd place. Matt McCullum, though, will be leading pro category, and what a start for him. Jointson is the 2nd in the pro category, qualifying in 6th position. We're away and we're racing. It's medium tyres for Gopin Mahinajit up the top of the field. Guy Barbara will be chasing him down in short order. This first quarter, always really tricky to get right. Critical at the beginning of the race. A little bit wide there from Gopin Mahinajit, but no issue at all for that Nissan as he cruises on down the first little mini straight. Looks like Matt McCullum putting a bit of pressure on Andrew Scott early on. Ando will probably be favoring a bit more of a conservative strategy, as he usually does. This is very much a thinking man's game, this place at MotorMotion E-Series GT3 Championship. And I tell you what, Ando loves that thinking. Bit of a tank slapper there for Guy Barbara, trying to get this Supra's tires up to temperature so he can actually handle this nicely through the fast and sweeping left-hander, and now barreling up the hill towards the hairpin. Tricky to get this track absolutely nailed and understood as well. Racing mediums for Matt McCullum, who's going to be trying to send it on Ando into the braking zone. Doesn't find the position, and behind him, Nick Pfaff, of course, is Matthew Jointson's teammate. In behind, Jointson has lost a position to Campbell Knowles, who finds himself now up into 6th position in the Porsche, also starting on the racing medium tyres, but it's hard for Jointson. Behind him, Glenn Mead on the medium tyre. This is an early opportunity for the Mad Turtle Racing Mercedes to get up ahead of his competitor in pro title. Behind them, Michael Brill. Then we got Spark coming in for Black Rose Racing in 10th position. There's Scott Taylor for Gridline Racing. His teammates leading the race at the moment. Then Chris Varipapa, Luke Stone, and behind, right at the bottom, it is Jansen stepping in for yourself, Nick, for this race.
Yeah, great start by all the 14 competitors there. Yeah, we're missing a couple of drivers. Obviously, there's one CP Motorsports and Josh Green not able to attend this race, and one of the other drivers I believe that is going to be the Hasel1 Motorsport camp, which is Riley Nicholson. So one from CP, one from Hasel1, not able to make the event tonight. There's a car in the background there on the gravel trap. I believe that was Lyle Rensburg in the Mercedes filling in for myself. So he's doing a great job. He's probably a little bit underwhelmed being in the class that he is in. Obviously a very competitive and fast driver in the TCR campaign and the last season. But at the same time, he's just really trying to find his feet in the GT3 category, doing 2 races, substituting for myself. So a great start by him, and hopefully he can manage to grab some space. But it is a very tight battle up towards the front. Gopi, Guy Barbara, Ando, the top 3 in the elite category. Leading the pro is Matt McCullum ahead of Nick Pfaff, and Campbell Knowles doing a really good job up into P6, P5 in class, and really keeping on the tails of Nick Pfaff, who put on a really great performance there at Daytona alongside myself. It was a really an amazing battle that we had, and it was a bit of a shame I couldn't make the commentary with you guys in the TrackSpot TV booth, but it was a great battle that we had between myself and Nick Pfaff, and I really want to hand down my respects to him as what a great driver he is.
Are you sure you wouldn't have taken the opportunity just to pat yourself on the back all race long? Look at how cool I am. Look at me fighting with Nick Pfaff, because I would if it was to me versus another one. But, you know, that's the problem with league commentators. We have ego problems, so much more humble man than I am. Yeah, indeed. I think at the end of the day, it's difficult to get really familiar with this format. I mean, most of the drivers who come onto track will have GT3 experience. They've driven cars like this before, but when you're in... you know, in an actual race, the pressure's on, you're racing for a team. It's the whole ecosystem of being in a high-pressure premier race like the GT3 Championship. And, yeah, Jensen, I'm not surprised if he's a little bit overwhelmed with jumping in early on. I certainly would be. You know, he's got to get used to the races around him, the track, the car itself, the tires, the strategy, and executing that strategy. And it's not just about going full tilt. There'll be strategy involved as well. He's about 2 corners behind right now, so he's right at the back of the field, unfortunately, but plenty of time for him to have the clean air, get his head in the right space, and get after the back of the pack. So at the top, Gautam Mahinajit and Guy Barber still separated by some distance now. That has grown somewhat, but Ando is leading the second pack here on the medium tire and just trying to keep Matt McCullum. Matt McCullum has been an absolute outstanding member of the pro title. So many good results, and one of the keys to his success has been finishing ahead of so much of the elite field.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, whether it was pre-season beforehand, we're actually debating about Matt McCullum's progression and rise in GT7 since when he started last year racing online for the first time. He managed just to really put in the hard work. CP Motorsports managed to sign him for a long-term future with the camp and with the team, and his just progression to the top has been phenomenal, from the working from the bottom all the way to being respected by the top drivers in any leagues that he races in. So he's doing really well. Matt McCullum is definitely a future talent for sure, and you know, obviously he's leading the pro title. It's going to be a guaranteed potential victor for the Pro Championship, so we'll be seeing him in Elite. And you know, this is a kind of a taste for Matt McCullum, because he's racing the likes of Ando, who he knows very well. He knows Nick Pfaff. He knows the majority of the drivers there. He has competed alongside Gautam Mahinajit. Actually, funnily enough, in my own series, he was actually racing alongside Gautam Mahinajit for an endurance race. So he's got the knowledge, he's got the skills to race with the top guys, and I think with his pace, it's going to be really good. As we saw, Nick Spark actually losing a bit of ground there, just outside the Nick Roberts losing a bit of spark down there in 10th place, able to go side by side with Dub Zeta, but just loses out and is down in 10th place. Scotty in 11th place is really on the back foot here. And obviously this has been quite a formidable story with Gridline Racing. They have the star-studded lineup, but the results are coming for one direction with Gautam Mahinajit, but the rest of the team just lacking a little bit behind in that GTR.
Yeah, indeed, it has not been the season that Gridline Racing has been hoping for. That is for sure. I mean, they are previous winners. They are previous champions in a lot of... Whoa! And we've been on board while Scott Taylor puts a couple of tires onto the grass, gets the power down, and unfortunately that's gone all sideways for him. And just as we're sort of bemoaning the situation that they're in as a team, unfortunately that is kind of a little bit of an insight into what it's probably feeling like to be a Gridline Racing driver this season. They've had some of the best results. I mean, Gautam Mahinajit as an example, but the rest of the team just hasn't been there in terms of the consistency of results. And they've got, you know, arguably the best driver in the series in Gautam Mahinajit, but unfortunately they haven't had that consistent level of results like Hooncorp and Mad Turtle have had throughout the season. So they're sitting 4th in the championship at the moment, still in a bit of a battle. They could still find their way up ahead of Black Rose Racing into a 3rd spot, and that wouldn't be too bad for a title contention. But I tell you, you know, overall it's just been a bit of a struggle for them throughout the season, so not ideal. And obviously capturing Scott Taylor go for a spin there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look at the likes of Hooncorp Esports. You know, they have such a great star-studded lineup, probably one of the strongest lineups out of everyone, with Guy Barbara, and then you have Luke Stone, you know, also another driver that was touted in the off-season. As we saw Guy Barbara just get on the dirt there. Usually when you go on the dirt there on the exit of turn 8, turn 9, you do pick up a little cheeky half-second penalty there, so you got away with that. And then going into the hairpin, just gets right onto the curbing, but down to the double right hand. It's actually one of my favorite sections of this track, this sector 3.
Oh, I thought you hated this track.
Actually, as I said, if there's no tyre wear, it's actually a fun track to drive. But if there is tyre wear, then count me out most times.
Okay, fair enough.
But But it is a roller coaster, and I think that's what that's what the drivers really talk about this track. It is a roller coaster of a circuit. You know, the downhill, the uphill sections of this track that is actually being embedded next to the mountainside. Actually, funny enough, Formula One, the governing body of Formula One, were actually going to seek approval of to actually run their events here at Topless as a substitute for Suzuka Circuit and Fuji International Speedway. Just a bit of a rolling pattern of changing tracks year by year, and Topless was actually on the forefront of becoming a permanent fixture in the Formula One Championship, but that just never went through in the late 80s. So we could have seen Formula One cars around here, but we do love to see our Super Formulas, GT 500s, GT3 championships, TCRs that race around on Topless. It is a fun track. Just if you're on a controller on a DS5 or a DS4, it's not fun. That's all I can say.
All right. So basically, what we're saying is the Nick Bautasso Get a Sim Rig Relief Fund continues its efforts to get you into something where you can maybe enjoy this track a little bit more under tire wear situations. Remember to donate at notalink.com. In fact, just send Nick a message and tell him to keep saving. That's the way to do it. Right. Yeah, I think personally I do enjoy this track. I love the flowing nature of it. I admittedly do not have the same troubles with the tire wear being on, a sim rig. It's been a long time since I've actually raced here, but whenever I do, it's just something really beautiful about how the corners flow. You're never really on a straight other than the straights. Everything else is just constantly one thing flowing into another, and that does cause some headaches. You need to know this track very, very well to do well here. You need to know when you're slightly offline, and this is a corner is a really good example. It's a very, very long left-hander, and it spits you out onto the straight, and it's getting the entry point there is absolutely key. So you really have to do it by feel. There's no way to really calculate exactly where the car needs to be. You need to be doing it based on feel, and that's one of the trickiest things at a circuit like this. A lot of the other tracks that we've had, you don't have to do that as much. You can really calculate what's going on and why and when. This is not the case here in Kimitsui Village in Hita City in Oita Prefecture in Japan. Of course, since 1990, this track has been there. 47 billion yen it took to open this place. And it's probably cost them a bunch more ever since, but I certainly have some fond memories of watching Super Taikyu here. It's a great place to go racing. Nonetheless, we continue. We are now 11.5 minutes in. The racing medium tires all looking solid. Fuel tanks still looking good. Ando is executing this usual strategy. I think he's been a bit frustrated this season. He's a man who's used to being on the podium spots, and he hasn't gotten nearly as many as he would have liked this season. His strategy of taking it a little bit easier through these first parts of the race I don't think it's really worked out quite as much as he would have liked. I mean, you've got Guy Barber and Gopin Mahinajit who are super, super quick, and they were also able to do the fuel saving and the tire saving at that velocity. That is a unique combination that's really difficult to fight against.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, we always look up to a guys like Gopi and Guy Barbara as thinking, we want to be at that stage. We want to be able to drive how they drive, one day go on the world tour with Gopi and Guy Barbara, recently coming from the GT World Tour series that was held in Los Angeles only a few weeks ago. But we always look to those drivers that are around us, kind of like your second best or the best of the rest. So we know Guy and Gopi are your 1 and 2s. They're in their league of their own. It's more or less you're looking at best of the rest. So we're always fighting for that third position. And I feel like you get the top 2, forget about it. We're all fighting for P3 on the podium to say, hey, we've joined the aliens on the podium. Let's spray some champagne. Let's have some fun. So it's a fun little battle. It's a kind of like a little championship battle that we like to have here with Ando, myself, Nick Pfaff. The three of us. We love having battles like this, and we love to be able just to show off our pace, and we know that we can't compete with the top 2. We could just be in awe. And I'll tell you what, when Spec 3 with the latest update of Gran Turismo 7 comes out very soon, and with one of the features we're getting is the data logger. I'm actually very, very keen to see how that works, because, you know, that is going to be a definite game changer for those, you know, like Ando, like Nick Pfaff, like myself, and even Matt McCallum as well, sitting very pretty behind Ando Scott in P4. And you can see on the map there as well, there's a lot of gaps being formed here. But what I'm noticing a lot is Ando's really a cork in the bottle here in P3. He's on the mediums like everybody else, but he's going not as fast as he wants, and he's actually bringing in Campbell Knowles in P6 as well as Glenn Mead. So Glenn Mead's still a fair way back behind Campbell Knowles in the Mad Turtle Racing Mad Turtle Racing entry Mercedes. But Campbell Knowles is really starting to claw his way back, but just because of how much Ando's holding these guys up.
Indeed, and yeah, this comes back to the strategy. Ando loves to save fuel, he loves to save the tires. It gives him a massive advantage in the pit stops, and very likely what we'll see when the pit stops do begin is Ando will come in maybe a little bit later than the guys, but he'll go out of the pits quite far ahead of them. And it's usually because he's saved 3 or 4 seconds of fuel. However, just looking at Campbell Knowles' fuel at the moment, he's not doing as much on the tires, but that fuel amount is looking really, really healthy. He's also set a personal best of a 47.6. So he is not slow at the moment. He's doing laps that are equal to, if not faster than, the pack of 3 ahead of him. But the fuel saving that he's doing right now is bringing him seriously in contention for a 3rd place victory today. And that would be fantastic for Black Rose Racing. This is exactly what they need in this title, to keep them in 3rd place and keep them out of the grasps of Gridline Racing, who are inevitably scoring a lot of points every round in the Group A because of Gautam Mahindra. And of course, Scott Taylor to a degree as well, but the results just haven't been as consistent there. But for Glenn Mead, this is also critical. He's sitting 3rd in Pro right now on the grid, but he'll need to be up there ahead of, well, hopefully both Airborne. Oh yes, of course he is, because Campbell Knowles always tricks me into thinking he's pro for some reason, and I never know why. I've got some sort of crossed wire in my head. In fact, I've got quite a few of those, actually, if I think about it, but this is certainly one of them. I keep thinking that he is there in a pro category, but you're absolutely right. He's 2nd at the moment, so that does actually change things quite substantially. But bringing him back into this pack, yeah, be really, really good for him. I don't know if he's really got the ultimate pace, though, to challenge Matt McCallum. I think Glenn Mead's advantage is his strategy execution is so consistent.
And that's why he's always been always challenging Matt McCallum in the standings. You know, he's actually got a couple of not a couple of victories over Matt McCallum, but he's actually been able to get ahead of him in some of the races, just with some clever strategies and just some clever tire saving, fuel management. I can go back to as early as round 1, where him and myself were running on the racing medium tyres while everyone else was on the racing softs, but he managed to extend his lap a lot longer than I did, that he managed to have a short stint on the fuel, and he managed to get himself a victory from that strategy by running an extra lap on a set of mediums, just to have the fastest race car that he could have in the final stint. And he goes and makes moves left, right, front and center, go into the first chicane and the second chicane, and it just shows that the potential is really strong with Glenn Mead. That's why he's a loved driver. He's a very respected name in the MotorMotion community and any racing leagues that he does. But Glenn Mead has definitely been on the forefront of great strategy calls and being the team player that he needs to be. And, you know, just driving really consistently. He's not setting the times alive, 47.6, same time as what Campbell Knowles did ahead of him, but it's respectable. It's because he's right up there, 47.4s for both McCallum and Nick Pfaff, and Ando would be the same as well, 47.4, 47.5. So it's respectable pace. It's just, you can just see on the track there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars on the straight, on the exit of turn 10 going to turn 11.
Indeed, and I've actually had the pleasure of meeting Glenn Mead in real life as well. Lovely bloke. His son is awesome as well. And he's a very good off-road driver too. So he's in a, I can't remember the exact, a stock UTX, I think it was. It's a great little car. And it's actually, ironically, the same, his online driving style is very similar to his offline in terms of overall race. All the other guys have got these incredible off-road vehicles with, you know, V8s and all sorts, really powerful, really chunky machines. He's there with the smallest engine and the smallest car, but guess what? He doesn't have to fuel up as much. He doesn't have to go and push as hard, so there's less issues with the car long term, and he just gains places by just existing and running his own race. It's very much what we see with his racing online as well. So a true competitor, and definitely still in it for the pro second place. Whether or not he gets to first is going to depend on how well Matt McCullum does, not only in this race but in the next one. At the moment, he's got 2 elite level drivers behind him, so that's an extra couple of points there for him. So this is the key thing for Matt McCullum. He can secure this by just finishing ahead of the elite level drivers, and that's been key. Again, as we mentioned before, it's been key part of his season, has been finishing ahead of these elite level drivers who just haven't had his number at all this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? We're 19 minutes into the race, so 6 more minutes to go. You're already halfway, and Matt McCullum and Nick Pfaff's tyres, and even the Porsche of Campbell Knowles. It is a really strong track for the MR cars, but the tyres wear so fast around here. But the same could be said for Ando Scott with his front tyres. They are absolutely cooking at the front, and he's just going to be feeling a lot of mad understeer on that BMW. So it feels like it's a bit of an even playing field between the cars when it comes to tyre wear, but Matt McCullum and Nick Pfaff will be suffering a little bit more. Ando's able to stretch his legs a little bit more now. He's got himself a few more extra car lengths over Matt McCullum now, and Nick Pfaff down in P5, so running 4th in class in the elite category, chasing Ando for P3. But he's able to stretch his legs a little bit more now. Now he can just see the drivers behind him saying the tyres are starting to go. You can see that on the lap time. You can see that on his delta. You can see that on the steering wheel. What the gap is between himself and the driver behind him. He's not worried about the front 2. Gopin Mahindra's, Guy Barber, they're 1 and 2. They're now a little bit more separated now. I feel like there's been a mistake on the likes of Guy Barber down in P2, but he can see that now the gaps are starting to increase because the drivers behind him stuck in that dirty air really wear out the tyres so much. But Matt McCullum and Nick Pfaff need to get to that 25-minute mark, and which is only going to be another 3 more laps on track, and then they'll be able to make the next pit stop. Indeed,
yeah. And we're just looking at Glenn Mead, who had a little bit of a look down into the hairpin. Wasn't quite enough room. Campbell Knowles is a wily competitor, and he knows when he's under attack, and he knows when he's got his own blood in the water and when there's a shark coming up behind him. So this will be a difficult overtake for Glenn Mead. It's not essential in this race, because we'll see where Campbell Knowles filters back out in the pack. He's been doing some serious fuel saving himself. So really it's Pfaff and McCullum who are the ones in this group of 5 that have been spending the fuel a bit more than the others. Everyone else seems to be about the same. So expecting to see Ando, Campbell Knowles and Glenn Mead make some progress once the pit stops do happen. Matt McCullum may find himself having to play catch-up during the second stint of the race. A little bit wide there from Campbell Knowles. It's evidence that the tyres are not quite as good as they used to be, and it's the front tyres that really take the beating in this race. And so you start to find that through those uphill sections, the flowing corners in the third sector, it just becomes super awkward. Because you're not getting the turn in, you can't either. You put the wheel in the right direction, and then nothing happens. A little bit of another look here for Glenn Mead down to turn 1, forces Campbell Knowles to go wide. So there might be an opportunity down the end of this next straight. He's getting a good whiff of slipstream as well in the Mercedes, but I don't think he'll be too eager to overtake. He'll only take the opportunity if it's there, and that's exactly what he does. Just happy to hold on where he is for now, although there's the blood in the water. He's sniffing it. Not quite yet an opportunity. He's very quick through this section, and oh, big lunge, and that's not the most clean overtake ever. He will redress the position because that was a bit of a lunge, but luckily no damage on either car.
Very unlucky there for Glenn Mead, just looking very opportunistic through the hairpin there, and it's one of the most favoured positions to actually go for that cheeky dive bomb and just really catch out your drivers, catch out your competitors. He looks up towards the second hairpin at the top of the hill, a much cleaner move here for Glenn Mead, but it runs it deep, so Campbell Knowles gets a switchback on Glenn Mead, and he chops the nose off of that chomping shark, of that great white shark in Glenn Mead, right behind Big Bruce the shark. And Campbell Knowles gets that position back at the top of the hill of turn 10. Nice battle between these two drivers. Very healthy, respectable driving. Glenn Mead saw that the opportunity wasn't there in the first hairpin. He had to wait. He backed off. He let Campbell Knowles through and try to go for the full send, but the tyres are just not there for Campbell Knowles. He needs to be able to do one more lap here I don't know if he's going to make it. It's going to be very, very tight. And you can just see with the body language of Glenn Mead, he is ruining those opportunities. He's ruining that opportunity that he missed at the top of the hairpin, at the top of turn 10, to go for that move and get the brakes on. Because I think if it was if it was a couple of laps earlier, if you did that same braking move, he would have made that. No problems at all, because he had the grip advantage, he had he had the confidence on the car. But as the tires are fading, you just lose that braking performance.
Exactly right. Well, we just seen Guy Barbara jump into the pit, so he is our first one to pull the trigger. Maybe trying to do a little bit of an undercut on Gopi Mahinajit. We've seen that backfire and also work against him, so it really depends on how the outlap is going to look, and whether Gopi is going to then pull the trigger on this next lap, which I imagine he probably will. Nick Pfaff's tyre is looking okay. We're just going to do a stock take here. Matt McCullum's looking okay as well. He's used a fair chunk of fuel. And then Ando. So actually, yeah, it's going to be Pfaff as well. We'll be in that pack that do not have to refuel as much. We'll save them a few seconds on track. Pfaff might find himself up ahead of Matt McCullum as well after this pit stop. So it depends, again, on how much fuel he needs for the end of the race. We are coming up to half race distance, 30 seconds to go till that point. For 25 minutes, the lap time certainly slowing down for Ando, and a man who probably deserves a little bit more camera time. Gopi Mahinajit, look at the tire life on this. He's not saved nearly as much fuel as the guys behind. He's been going full hammer and tong. So he's probably going to have around 25 liters or 27 liters, a little bit less fuel than Guy Barbara. But I think they've been on the same fuel strategy. But yeah, the tires completely gone. He's able to use it right to the bleeding edge of grip.
Oh, there you go. But you can see the clock on the bottom left there. On the bottom left, it is to hit the 25-minute marker right now as he pulls into the pit lane. So that is 14 laps done on those set of tires. Get rid of them. 30 liters. So you're only going to have to put a little bit of a splash in the car. But with Gopi Mahinajit, he's going to be putting a little bit more fuel in the car, I would say, just depending where Guy Barbara is. I have a feeling Guy Barbara is behind, not the first, not the third pack, I believe, is coming up towards the roller coaster section. But everyone else is coming in right now. Ando Scott, Matt McCallum, Nick Pfaff. So Ando and Nick are on the same levels of fuel. Well, Guy Barbara
is miles ahead. He's miles ahead, but he is short-fueled the car, Nick. He's short-fueled the car on racing softs.
And this, wow, okay, so we have a new interesting strategy here. Is the strategy go full send for a short amount of time and then go for another set of softs? Is he doing a
two-stopper. He's two-stopping. Yeah, he must be. He's on the racing soft. He wants to go fast. That is typical Guy Barbara tactics. But Gopi Mahinajit is on the racing mediums again with a nice tank of fuel, 75 liters. So Gopi is going to the end, believes he has the pace and the tire life to get him another 24 minutes in this race, which is more than enough. But he's going to have a charging Guy Barbara. But Guy Barbara needs to do another pit stop. Relatively speaking, how long is this pit length? It's a pretty disastrous one for pit length. I don't know if it's going to have the speed to catch that up.
Actually, it is quite a short pit and trad zone, so it's not as long as many people would think. So it is actually quite a short period of time. The length of the tires and the fuel is not too bad, so I feel like he may get away with it. Obviously, the clean air that Guy Barbara's in, he's going to be setting the timing sheets alight, you know. He's going to be going for those 1 minute 45s, potentially at maybe potential of 1 minute 44 if he gets a really solid lap around here. But the pit transit time is not as bad as what most people think, because it is a short pit entry. It's just only navigating that chicane when you go into the pit. It's one of the most awkward pit entries in the world, besides of Road Atlanta and potentially Watkins Glen's being up there as one of the worst pit entries, because it is very tight. It is very hard to navigate. But Guy Barbara here, there you go, 1 minute 44.9. So he's charging. He's putting the hammer down. That is a very strong fastest lap there by Guy Barbara. What a lap he set. Matthew Joynton is yet to pit, but he's actually on the racing hard tires here. Am I reading that right?
You are reading that right. Yeah.
He's on racing hards, but he hasn't got the fuel. So I wonder if this must have been a strategy miscommunication within the team at Aster Racing, because Nick Pfaff had plenty of tyres left on his racing mediums, but Matthew Joyson just thought otherwise, and this is not going to help him, because he's in the battle for the pro category to be on the podiums, but he's not going to be ahead of Matt McCallum, and he's definitely not going to be ahead of Glenn Mead. So this is a blunder from Matthew Joynson, in my
Yeah, I
opinion.
mean, the only explanation I've got is he's got the opportunity to maybe slow Ando down just a little bit. As you can see, Ando and Faf have both dropped Matt McCallum because of their earlier pit stops, and oh well, that's that over. Yeah, it must be some kind of blunder, but the only other explanation I've got is he's trying to get close enough to maybe pop on those softs, but the softs are not going to last. They'll last for 5 laps, 10 minutes at most, and he's going to have to pit in the next 5 minutes. So he'll be on the racing mediums, no doubt. Here comes the leader, well, what will soon be the leader of the pro category, Matt McCallum, who's gone into the racing mediums again, had to fuel up more than the 2 elite drivers he was battling with, Nick Pfaff and Ando, but this will be an easy overtake, well, should be an easy overtake for Matt McCallum on Joynson. But yeah, the racing hard tires, oh, squiggling, just not able to have, he's got no grip out there at all. It's an ice skating rink right now for him, and I suspect it'll be this lap that he comes in. This is slowing down Matt McCallum ever so slightly, but not going to have a big impact on this race, as Bruce the Shark is a couple of corners still behind at the moment. Will it be another lap? It's another lap for Joynson, so he's really committed to the hard strategy here.
But the thing is, George, racing mediums are the compulsory tire. He can't use the softs. Like, if you're going to use the softs, you're going to be doing a 2-stop strategy. But the hard tire, the hard tires is not the compulsory tire. It is a racing medium. So you're going slow on a racing hard tire, and then you're going to only gain yourself a few tenths on a racing medium. So I'm a little bit perplexed on the strategy of the 777 here. It's not seemed to be working out for him. Maybe it could be the sense of that he hasn't done enough practice during the week. Usually that is the case for some drivers, is that you don't have the time to put the hours in to test all the compounds of tires. You don't know if the racing mediums are going to be the best tire to do a double stint on. But that's what working as a team is all about. You know, you have teammates that may have a bit of time during the week and say, hey, the racing mediums can last half race distance. As he struggles through turn 8 and even coming up towards turn 10, Matt McCallum gets a great run looking for that inside move, and he's already done it. So he's lost the provisional pro class lead with Matt McCallum now inheriting back P1. But yeah, just Matthew Joynson, just nothing's working. Nothing has worked for him. He had a great strategy last time out, but at the same time, he's just not able to find any meaning to this strategy. It's just, I'm very confused of how it is all working, to be honest.
It's bizarre. I don't know what the decision-making process has been today. I mean, look, probably a fair call. Maybe not able to prepare as much for this race, but the hard tires, just, yeah, it's not ideal. If you don't know practice, go onto the medium tire and do a double stint, and that seems to be what Gopin Mahindra has decided to do this round. Now Airborne going to be catching up rapidly. He's on the medium tire, so he's doing the same one-stop medium strategy. Bruce the Shark is doing the same. Let's go down the field a little bit here. Spark is this is interesting. Has he... Okay, I'm not 100% sure what's happened there, but I believe he may have pitted about 6 laps ago or so and changed onto a medium tire. Might have started on the soft tire. I'm not 100% sure there. Similar strategy for Christopher Papa for Lightning Motorsport, being followed by his teammate Michael Brill, both in the pro category, of course. No elite driver for Lightning Motorsport, unfortunately, this season. Luke Stone not having a great day out. He's on the hards too.
Wow. And Luke Stone, and I really praised Luke Stone to being a top caliber driver. You know, he's a driver that can be running with the elite drivers, but this season has not worked in the favor of Luke Stone. And you know, he has a bit of different strategy calls compared to his more experienced teammate in Guy Barber. He actually, you have to remember, George, in at Daytona, they ran the same strategy of the racing hards onto racing softs towards the end of the Daytona race. But this is a whole different ball game here. Luke Stone down in 12th place. Has he had any moments in his lap? He has. Lap 12 looks like
2:12, yeah.
A 2:12, but that seems to be an out lap there.
Pit stop, yeah. I don't know. You're absolutely right. I mean, they've executed the strategies beautifully, but this is polar opposite strategies. Medium, soft for Guy Barbara. Luke Stone's done a medium stint somewhere, I assume, and now jumped onto the hard tires to the end of the race. So I'm not sure. Maybe there was an incident. He's quite far back from the pack, so maybe he's had a crash somewhere. It's entirely possible. He's just decided, well, I have to pit early and change up my strategy. It might honestly be the same for Joynson, although I can't see how, given his position on track. So I don't think that's going to be the case there for him. But
I
with
don't
Luke
think
Stone,
Emerson had crashed.
no, I don't think he.
I think
Yeah.
these two have both. Scotty, we saw Scotty on board with the crash, and we saw Jansen as well at the end of lap 1. So now these guys are in a nice little ding dong battle for 13th position. But Luke Stone, yeah, just a bit of a mystery man here for Hooncorp Esports. You know, winning, being one of the drivers that finished P2 at Daytona, and while the rest of his teammates were able to win the whole event overall. But this round is very struggling. And Guy Barbara with a half-second penalty. Now the racing mediums. Look
What?
where he's positioned. He's behind Matt McCallum. He has to serve this half-second penalty. He's on the racing medium tyres. He's got... I think he's going to be able to execute these moves past Matt McCallum, Faf, and Ando. But look at the gap that he's lost to Guy Barbara. This is not the strategy that that Hooncorp has not worked with.
No, this is not a good strategy call here from Hooncorp today, either for Luke Stone or for Guy Barbara. He spent 10 minutes on the soft tyres and then they were gone, and he had to come into he had to pit anyway because of the fuel, because he decided not to take any extra fuel. But yeah, as you can see, I mean, Gautam Mahindra is coming down the main straight towards turn 1. That is the distance that he has lost. That is an outrageous amount of distance to lose. The two-stopper has not worked out. And then to jump back onto the medium tyre, my thought was he was going to try and extend the soft tyre a bit, but if you're going to do the two-stop, yeah, it would make sense. You'd have a... But then you've got to extend the soft tyre, so you can't go full pace, and it just seems like, what's the point of the short pit stop? So really, at the end of the day, Hooncorp, this is a big blunder by Hooncorp today entirely, and right now there's a big chance for Mad Turtle to scrape some good points away from them. If they're not scoring up here in the elite and the pro categories, which is where they typically get a lot of points, they are going to be in some trouble in terms of the team's title heading into the final round at Bathurst. Not a great situation for Hooncorp Esports right now.
Yeah, and you have to remember as well, Guy Barbara was only around about 4 to 5 seconds behind Gopi.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And that is another look from Glenn Mee down the inside. Same place, not 4 or 5 laps ago. Camel Knowles has had to reverse on track, and he's got himself turned around, and Bruce the Shark will probably be redressing that. He'll know that he's made a mistake there, but there's some distance between him and Airborne right now, so it does mean that that is going to potentially cost him. Spark is there, but needs to come into the pits. And let's see. Yeah, just an unfortunate mistake there. The lunges down to that corner are very, very difficult because the braking zone comes up so quickly and it's so short. If you are going to lunge, you really need to be side by side already through the S's before the hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to be right on the rear bumper, and you have to have the full confidence of the driver, whether he's going to go left or he's going to stick to the inside, because while it is very tempting to make a move there, you have to remember every single corner around here is tight. The exit is so tight. You can't put the foot down on the throttle as early as you want, because the entry that you have to take in some of these corners, you have to take a lot more of a wider approach to actually get the power down. As you see, Guy Barbara now about to make the move on Matt McCallum up into P4, but he's running P3 in class. P4 in class, rather. Apologies there. So this could be a battle here where Ando and Nick Pfaff, with what we're looking at about almost 13 minutes to go, Guy Barbara has only got himself 7 more laps to go to get to the back of Nick Pfaff and Ando Scott. While that is a possibility for the OP Twitchy, his outplayed esports team, alongside the Hooncorp Esports colour scheme that he's got on his Toyota Supra. Lovely livery, by the way, that Hooncorp and Outplayed have been able to do for Guy Barbara. 13 minutes to catch Ando and Pfaff. I'll tell you what, it's going to be close, and it's going to be a very juicy battle for P2.
It certainly will be, and we saw the behavior of Guy's car as he overtook Matt McCullum. He just absolutely forced him to be completely on the outside line. No, you're not going to hang around the outside. I'm not going to give you the space. I'm not going to turn in early. I'm going to sit the car right there in the braking zone, go straight ahead until I completely own the corner. That is some really, really good race car. Very, very smart driving by Guy Barbara, but also indicates that he probably understands the situation he's in, and his lap times have got to be absolutely blistering fast. He's got no time to be sitting behind Matt McCullum when he needs to be getting his car back up and into the battle, into the fray. Oh, little moment there with Nick Pfaff and Andrew Scott, who are both on the same strategy execution on the medium tire. We know that Guy Barber has got the pace over these two in terms of the medium tire. They're all on it at the moment, but there is probably a 7 or 8 second difference. Look at how much curb Guy Barber is willing to take. He is going to risk everything to get himself back onto the podium. Brilliant. I love to see it.
Wow. That's committed. I'm surprised he hasn't been able to pick up a half-second penalty there, and he's gotten away with it. The track officials have just said, you know, go for it. 46.4, 1.5 seconds slower than his actual fastest lap that he set on the racing softs. Obviously, being the case, low fuel, soft tire, go full send, why not? But he's committed. He knows he's made a mistake, and he's just ruined what happened with his strategy today. So he's going to be really putting the hammer down. He's only a couple of corners behind Nick Pfaff. He can actually see them on the exit of turn 6, but you can just see the commitment that the Guy Barber is putting, sliding the car on exit, really putting the foot down. He's got fresher rubber compared to Ando and Nick Pfaff. We just saw Ando's car. The fronts are wearing very fast, and we saw with Nick Pfaff all even on the tires. But Guy has the best rubber compared to those two ahead of him. So it's going to be very fun to see this level of competitiveness that Guy Barber can bring.
There's something quite special about seeing an alien level driver under pressure to get a result. I mean, that car is being sent left, right, center, upside down, every direction you could possibly imagine. Every single pixel of advantage he can get here, he is extracting. It is a very special thing. I'm kind of mesmerized at this point. You don't often see alien drivers under this amount of pressure outside of a GT World Series race or some other very high level competition. So to kind of just get the opportunity to watch Guy Barber sweating a little bit here at MotorMotion E-Series is really, really fantastic to watch. His ability in the car. He's already gained so much time on these guys. Another 46 there for him. It's 47 9s for Pfaff, 47 4s for Ando. So it's a matter of laps now. 10 minutes to go in this race. Guy Barber will be in shooting distance by the end of this lap, and probably by corner 1 coming into the next lap on the 24th lap of this race. So keep an eye here, but it's great to watch the body language and the ability when he's really pushing, which, you know, there's a lot of strategy involved in these races. He's not always pushing it at 100% just to conserve the tires and all that. But now that he's opened up and really, you know, become footloose and fancy free, so to speak, or certainly has sunk the foot directly into the bottom of the car, this is great to watch. Let's do a quick recap of the race, where things are at before we continue watching the battle. Gautam Mahinagic still completely solid. I don't think anyone's taking it away from him. And actually, this could be the championship drive for Gautam Mahinagic. After this, I don't believe anyone can mathematically catch him up if he finishes in first place. So Gautam Mahinagic is potentially only 9 minutes away from an elite title victory in the GT3 championship this season. So keep an eye on this. He hasn't had nearly as much screen time as he probably deserves today, but he certainly had plenty over the course of the season. What a season that's been. Ando behind him, still trying to stay ahead of Nick Pfaff, both on the same strategy, with Guy Barber lurking in the background. Also, how much time it would have taken to stitch those two liveries together, I hesitate to think. Matt McCullum in 5th position on the medium tyre. He had to fuel up a lot more. That's why he's behind those two, but he's still ahead of Glenn Mead, his nearest competitor, who's in 2nd place for Pro category. So it'd be good points earned by him, and especially considering Luke Stone is out of the picture for a good points haul in the Pro category this race, means that they're going to be making some progress in the team's title. Campbell Knowles, unfortunately got turned around by Glenn Mead. That'll be going to the steward's office. I'm absolutely sure it will be. So unfortunate for him, but elite category driver. So he's out of the top 3 anyway in this race. Chris Farapapa back here with Michael Brill still running line astern. Then Matthew Joynson picking up penalties on the medium tyre now. Has ditched the hard tyre finally. Then a racing hard tyre and under a lot of pressure from Spark is Luke Stone. Awkward situation, awkward race for him. Spark behind them, of course, in 12th, Gridline Racing Scotty, and then, of course, Jansen, who is catching up to these guys. So a little bit of a battle pack forming at the bottom of the grid. Drivers P11 down to P14 at the moment, but really the focus is right up here at the top, and Guy Barber versus Ando and Pfaff is going to be the battle that we're going to be watching for the next few minutes.
And there they are, right on cue with the cameraman, just seeing P2, P3, and P4 right on the camera spec, all covering within a second and a half of each other. It's great to see, and it's so cool to see. 7 more minutes to go until the end of this race. The one thing I will say is the Peugeot is really good in the slipstream, but it's not so good with its straight line speed. So while it can pull itself in, reel itself in with maximum speed, if it's on its own, no hope at all. Nick Pfaff will just
Whoa.
have to wave the white flag. So a bit of a moment there from the drivers. But yeah,
Well,
he's going
literally,
to
as you were
struggle a
saying
little
it,
bit.
not so good in the corners, and then suddenly goes really, really wide. I mean, that slipstream is not working well. Guy Barber couldn't take advantage though.
No, absolutely not. But the straight line speed of that Toyota Supra is coming right now. We go on board to go for that move into turn 1. Is he going to be able to make that stick as he gets through into turn 1? Throws the car into the inside. No, he's just going to stay behind a little bit. But he runs a little bit wide, does Nick Pfaff, and it gets alongside him as he gets towards turn 2 and turn 3. The straight line speed might be able to overpower them, but you can just see Nick Pfaff was just closing and squeezing Guy Barber, but throws it down the inside, and he makes that move nice and stick there. Well done, Guy Barber. That is P3 already. And we look down to the rest of the field, we can see all the drivers having their quick camera time, but Guy Barber up into P3, Nick Pfaff in P4. One more driver to go, and that is probably the hardest man to pass so far in this race. You can ask Nick Pfaff, you can ask Matt McCallum about trying to pass him. It is Ando Scott for P2.
He's a wily competitor, and he drives the biggest planes on the planet as well, so he knows how to make a car wide, because he knows how wide things can be on the runway. That is for sure, but certainly Ando going to be one of the trickier people to get past, although Nick Pfaff certainly didn't want to give up the position at all, but the difference in pace at the moment is significant. It's over a second a lap right now, so it's going to be very, very difficult for Ando to hold this man off, especially given he's on much fresher tires. But I mean, still probably ruining his mistake. He will get second place, we think. 5 minutes to go in this race, and there's plenty of time for Guy Barber to line up a move on Andrew Scott, but Ando, he'll be holding the inside lines. He'll be defensive through this to be one of the best results of the season for Hasel1 in the elite category, should he end up on second place and be able to hold off Guy Barber. But as we know, the Supra will be very, very quick. He'll gain a lot of advantage down this long straight. One of the longest straight, in fact, in the entire season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. No, we did have Le Mans, so yeah, that obviously is the longest straights there. But in the typical GT3 circuit, this is one of the longest straights that you can have. It's a fantastic place to go racing. Fuji is also very long. In fact, a lot of the Japanese courses have long straights. I wonder why.
Exactly. But But before we continue on this battle pack, which is becoming so amazing between Ando and Guy Barber, is going to try to look for a move in this hairpin. Ooh, close. Ando keeps the nose steady and nice and tight at the first hairpin at turn 6. I want to give a big shout out to the Lightning Motorsport crew with Chris Varepapa and Michael Brill, 8th and 9th place, running 3rd and 4th in class. This is going to be their best result in the campaign. They've been really struggling with the Honda NSX all season long, and this track has proven to be a very handy piece of machinery for the Honda NSX. It obviously struggles everywhere else, but it looks like Autopolis, it's home country, it's home track, as Guy Barber has made the move on Ando Scott at the top of the hairpin. A very nice move from the 722 back up into P2, where he belongs. But I want to give a big shout out to Lightning Motorsport. You know, they've done a really good job. It looks like they've done a little bit more practice, a little bit more homework with this car, as it is coming to the second last round of the season. But if they can be happy with this, because they've been down the bottom of the order, finishing around out the last and second last positions only on a handful of times. But you know, Troy Britnell and his team, they put in the hard work, and that's what we love about Lightning Motorsports. They never give up. They're here to participate, but they want to be doing their absolute best. And a 3rd and 4th for them, very highly respectable from those drivers.
I completely agree, yeah. And of course, Troy Britnell leads a very tight outfit, tight in terms of how much fun they have together. They're not necessarily in there for the results. They want to do well, of course, but and a few real standout moments as well for Lightning Motorsport. Troy Britnell's managed to find himself on the podium a couple of times, and of course during the TCR Cup, Nick, we had the pleasure of interviewing him and his team with an amazing result in the TCR Championships in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a very good guy. He's been one of the staple names of MotorMotion E-Series, even if it's in first inauguration of the series. He was a part of the team. He was a part of the leadership team, and you can just see that year by year he just keeps getting stronger and stronger. His teams just gets bigger and bigger. The faith that he has in drivers. That he's able to recruit, when it comes to recruitment seasons, the same drivers are ready to go. They always want to be part of the team, as we see the battle pack with another Hooncorp Esports and a Gridline Racing entry. It's not Gopi Mahinajet and Guy Barbara, it's Luke Stone and Scott Taylor. Come on down.
It is indeed the battle for 12th position at the moment, and of course Luke Stone switched onto the hard tyres inexplicably. Again, we're not judging, but we just don't think it's the right call, unfortunately, and it has not worked out for him today, so it's not the result that he's wanted. But Scott Taylor on the medium tyre, but very worn. They're probably running about the same lap times at the moment, even if he got ahead. So this will be a little battle that goes towards the end. We are coming up to 1 minute remaining in this race, and Gopi Mahinajet is going to be finishing this lap by the looks of it. Yes, he will. So this is the final lap of the race, lap 28, and Gopi Mahinajet now taking what is essentially a season victory lap, because he is going to be mathematically uncatchable in the final race of the season. He has done enough all the way through the season. I can't even recount the number of victories he has had. Well, it's not going to be more than 9, obviously, but it's 7 or 8, that is for sure. There's a couple of times he hasn't ended up on that top spot, especially with Guy Barbara coming in and taking some really great victories away. But certainly a highlight for me was Spa. What a strategy execution that was from Gopi Mahinajet, and it certainly secured his confidence on beating Guy Barbara in these races to continue this run of form. And if he'd been second fiddle for since Guy Barbara jumped in and joined this series, he may have found himself really not in a position to be taking the elite category victory at race 9.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful season for Gopi Mahinajet, a class above amongst the rest of the field. Well-respected driver between himself and Guy Barbara to, have this strong battles that we're going to have. We didn't have a runaway champion with Gopi Mahinajet. We had Guy Barbara helping us along just to give us a bit of competition for 1 and 2. But Gopi Mahinajet, as he crosses the line, is going to be taking out the round victory.
Amazing. Here we go. A flash of the lights and a season victor in the elite category. It is Gopi Mahinajet who takes the win at round 9 and now mathematically uncatchable in the final race of the season. Guy Barbara will take home P2 in this race after what we can only assume is a bit of a strategy blunder today, but still retains the position that he wanted to, that is for sure. Comes across the line. Probably a bit of frustration for the Hooncorp Esports camp today. Andrew Scott takes home a 3rd position, which is really, really nice for him to take home that today against Nick Pfaff, who just didn't have the pace to really push Ando any further. Matt McCullum takes yet another victory in pro title. What a drive from him today, and he is also, I think, nearly uncatchable. We'll do another double check on the points, but he may be uncatchable as well. So we may have just crowned both an elite and a pro victor here in Group A in round 9, which is not always super unusual at the GT3 Championships. Some drivers just have the number over their competitors and keep the consistent results. But Glenn Mead in 2nd place for pro category. Good drive from him today. Campbell Knowles and him will be going to the steward's office later on. Chris Farapapa actually picking up essentially a 3rd place in pro category. That is his best result of the season to date. And Lightning Motorsport's not actually too far back. Both cars in the top 10 today. Excellent result for them. But, of course, the focus is on the man at the top. And that, of course, is Gopi Mahinajet, who wins elite category. Let's take a little look at the results today. Of course, Gopi in the lead. Guy Barbara, Andrew Scott, Nick Pfaff, Campbell Knowles, Lyle Jensen, and, of course, Josh Green not here today. Then over in the pro category, Matt McCullum picks up a few extra points for finishing ahead of the elite category drivers. Glenn Mead, 2nd place, followed by Chris Farapapa. What a result for Lightning Motorsport today. And Farapapa's first podium in the pro category, I believe, this season. Michael Brill in 4th position. Matthew Joinson, who was on an alternative hard strategy today that did not work out. Nick Roberts in 6th position. Scott Taylor and Luke Stone rounding out your top 8 there. Right, break it down for us, Nick. Give us a little race summary and let's talk driver of the day.
Oh, what can you say about the race? It was very, very tight amongst the top and between the top elite drivers and the pro category. Obviously, Gopin Mahindrajit are class above the rest of the field. Not even Guy Barber could compete with Gopin Mahindrajit tonight. He just really, really struggled to get his Hooncorp Toyota Supra on level peggings with the Gridline Racing Nissan GTR. It seems to be a bit more of a favourable car, the GTR, around here compared to the Supra, which relies on its straight line speed and slippery cornering through the slow, medium, and fast-paced corners. So really struggle street for Hooncorp, with even Luke Stone finishing down in position 8. So not the result that the Hooncorp Esports camp wanted for their title quest in the team's championship, but you know, for both Gridline Racing and CP Motorsport to have two of their drivers potentially sealing up elite and pro, it's a hats off to them for what a season it's been. Gopi, we know, a dominant driver. Any series that he does, he's always up at the top of the field. And Matt McCallum, as I've mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he's an up-and-coming star for the future, and we can't wait to see him in the elite class. Some say he should have actually been in the elite category at the start of the season. Obviously, that's not me.
But it might be someone from the Mad Turtle Racing camp.
Exactly. But it is great to see Matt McCallum putting on that and showing his dominance. We saw that we definitely saw that in the manufacturer master as well. We saw how dominant he was there in the GT4 class. So now you put him in a GT3 car, he just seems to be the same. Any car you can give him, he'll always show some sort of pace. So I think for my driver of the day, just on that note, I feel like I'm going to be giving it to Matt McCallum. Obviously, running very well, running very close to Ando Scott and Nick Pfaff in that first stint. Obviously, using a lot more fuel compared to those drivers, but obviously that comes with the head of the elite drivers having a little bit more knowledge compared to the pro drivers in the second division, the second class. But Matt McCallum, to be showing this dominance and to get 2 extra points from his 35 by beating Campbell Knowles and Lyle Rensburg, to give him those 2 extra points, could seal that championship for him in pro. So my driver of the day, CP Motorsports, Matt McCallum.
Fantastic. All right, let us know in chat who your driver of the day is, of course. I'm really split on this one. I feel like Ando did a great job today out there, given the situation with Guy Barber and Gopin Mahindrajit. So I mean, hats off to him. Certainly an honourable mention, similar to Nick Pfaff as well. Good results there from both of them. But Chris Vadepapa going to get my driver of the day. Great result for Lightning Motorsport in the Honda. Tricky car to drive, but it's come alive today. They've obviously done the prep, executed the strategy well. It was the same strategy executed by Gopin Mahindrajit, so they're on form. So I think I'm going to give it to Chris Vadepapa. Help us split the difference. Let us know in chat who your driver of the day is today. Right, well, let's talk now. Of course, as mentioned at the beginning of the stream, no Group B replay was unfortunately provided, so an apology being passed on by us to you from the MotorMotion admins for that. Obviously, we will have both races covered for the finale so that we can figure out who is going to be where at the end of the season. So let's take a little look at the results from the race from the Pro-Am category. And it was Mitchell Collin on top for Lightning Motorsport. So the day of good results for Lightning Motorsport continues. And Mitchell Collin, great result there, takes the victory in Pro-Am and, of course, the overall victory as well. Hayden Jones for CP Motorsports with a car between them, as I understand it. So didn't get second overall in the race, but I believe that was a 3rd position in the overalls. Mark Hasel1, who we expect to be up the top of this category, finds himself in 3rd for the category today. Marcel Albertin in 4th, Jeff Bruin in 5th, and then of course we've had a DNF from Richard Robinson and 2 DNSs, Joe Rudinsky and Blake Williamson, not able to make it, and critical for both of them that it was actually the Hooncorp and Mad Turtle drivers, both of them unable to make it, so kind of even Stevens in terms of the points gain. Had one of them showed up, well, that would have been an advantage swing one way or the other. Over in the AM class, it was Bob Massey. I believe he came home in 2nd place overall. We'll double check that, but what a result for Bob Massey. Wins the AM class, takes home 40 points as well for Mad Turtle Racing. That's a huge advantage for them, especially given Jack Finch finished in 6th. Troy Britnell takes 2nd in the AM class for Lightning Motorsport. Mark Hogan in 3rd position for Aster Racing. Then it's Wade Rushton, Chip Berry, Jack Finch, Graham Sullivan, and a DNF for Ben Blaker. So that's how things rolled out in the Pro-Am and Am. We'll give Nick a moment to talk, and then I'll run you through the current standings as they are for each of the categories.
Yeah, I will interrupt you there, George. Because when it comes to that, I will say one thing. It was actually Bob Massey that took the entire victory in
there we go.
in Lobby B. So he took the whole 40 points. So obviously, when you the drivers get 35 points when it comes to a victory. So that's the standard 35 points that you get from your elite drivers, Pro Am, and Am class. And then those extra points when you pass the drivers in the when you pass the drivers that is above you in the championship. But Bob Massey actually won the whole event, so he actually came first overall. He actually beat Mitch Collin in P2. So I think this is the actual first time in this championship that we have actually seen the lower category beating the higher category, the Am beating the Pro Am.
Yeah, it's completely unusual, and you're absolutely right on the points there. Only way to get 40 points is to actually win the overall race as an Am class. So what a day out for Bob Massey. And an extra couple of points for Mad Turtle Racing as well. It's fantastic stuff. Great to see that happening, and congratulations to Bob Massey. Brilliant, brilliant work. So what does that do for our standings? Let's take a little look. So in Am class, Jack Finch is still leading. He's on 288 points from Chip Berry on 271 points. Mark Hogan on 251. So still a battle to be resolved here. Am class will go down to the wire for this one, which is great to see. Then in the Pro-Am title, it is Mark Hasel1 still on top, but only leading now by 9 points from Marcel Alberton, who's only 6 points away from Joe Rudinsky, who had been leading this Pro-Am title for the longest time in the season. Finds himself in third, but with a chance, a mathematical chance to get up ahead of Mark Hasel1. So hopefully we see Joe Rudinsky back on the track for the next race, the finale at Bathurst. So that is Pro-Am title still under contention. Pro-Am Pro title is not actually sealed based on the points I'm seeing here. 327 for Matt McCullum, Glenn Mead on 293. So there is a possibility if Matt McCullum does have a bad race, Glenn Mead can take the Pro title. So it's all going to come down to how they perform at Bathurst. In third, it's Matthew Joinson, who's in a bit of a close battle for that third position from Nick Roberts of Black Rose Racing. So Pro title was not sealed today in round 9 at all. However, the same cannot be said for the elite title. Gopin Mahinajit, our elite category champion for the season on 318 points for Gridline Racing. Guy Barbara is the only one in contention for that, and he's only on 260 points after the race. 240 for Nick Pfaff, so still a possibility for Pfaff to get up into second, and a third place finish for Andrew Scott looking rather distant at this point. They'd have to have a big DNF from those ahead. In fact, no, mathematically, he's not able to get onto the podium. Fourth place for him, Campbell Knowles, Nick Pautasso in 6th, and Josh Green, of course, in 7th position, a late entry. So for the team's title, it does this. Mad Turtle Racing on 947 points and in the lead of the team's title. So a critical round for Mad Turtle in round 9. Hooncorp Esports on 913. So there is now a 34-point difference between the two teams. So this has got to be a mega last round for Hooncorp Esports if they've got any chance of beating Mad Turtle. Black Rose Racing in a solid third, but only 10 points separated from Gridline Racing. Still a chance there, but Gridline need the points. They need all their drivers to perform in this final round. Aster Racing, Lightning Motorsport, CP, and Hasel1 Motorsport rounding out the team's title there. So it is close, and as you were kind of alluding to, the Mad Turtle Racing camp starting to go from, hey, let's have some fun, to, hey, we should win this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's been a great haul of points. So it's a really big shame for Joe Rudinsky in the Pro-Am class. Obviously, he's, as a part of the team member of a part of Mad Turtle Racing, he's been saying to us that he's been really disappointed of how his connection hasn't just been able to work properly when it comes to the lobby host. So he's been really struggling on connection issues as of late. So this was actually one of the rounds that he had a problem with his connection, that he just couldn't be able to make the full event. He's had a couple of rounds as well that connection issues have just plagued his championship hopes a little bit, but it just comes down to that consistency. If you're there, you're there. Mark Hasel1, Marcel Alberton, that's going to be a great fight for the Pro-Am championship. And even Joe Rudinsky, as he said, mathematically still in there, but it's going to be a very tough ask for him to take the victory and hope that Mark Hasel1 and Marcel Alberton have a really poor race, or if one of them doesn't show up at all. But it is Mount Panorama for the final round here, George. You know, you're going to be expecting a star-studded lineup. You're probably going to see all 16 drivers show up in each lobby, no matter what, because it is a favorite track. We are coming home. MotorMotion E-Series to come home and finish our finale at Mount Panorama, as we always do, and what a track to finish it on. And I think all the cars on this track here, maybe, I would say potentially that Toyota Supra will be probably the stronger car, but you know, we could be seeing some amazing races here at Mount Panorama. You're going to be seeing drivers going left, right, hammer and tong when it comes to throwing these cars around the top of the mountain, and I'm so excited. I can't wait.
It's going to be a good one. So, of course, as you see on the calendar on your screens right now, Autopolis now behind us. That's the penultimate race done. We have 1 round to go. 50-minute race at Mount Panorama, same place, same time next week, and the drivers will be finishing on the 9th of December. And, of course, we will be there to watch us. I think that's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, that date is either wrong or... No, I think, yeah. I think
next week.
It is next week, so I think that date might be wrong. So ignore the date there on the calendar. I don't think that's quite correct. Either way,
2nd of December.
2nd of December. That's what I thought. Yeah, didn't think we had a 2-week break between the penultimate race and season finale. Nonetheless,
that would be nice. That would be nice for us. That would be nice for us drivers, just to have a bit of a week off and just say thank you, MotorMotion, for giving us a week off. That's 10 hard weeks of racing and 10 weeks of committed racing. But you know what a season it's been. You know, one championship sealed, but 3 more to decide. And next week at Mount Panorama, the mountain calls for 3 more champions to be crowned.
Certainly does. So that is going to be our coverage here today for Group A. And of course, thank you for everyone joining us in chat. It's been myself, George Cook, and Nick Fautasso in the commentary box, and Trackspot TV bringing you the broadcasting today. Big thanks to Player1 SimGear for sponsoring this season. Go check them out on p1simgear.com.au. And obviously, for all your news and articles, updates, standings, results, etc., please head to www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. You can find us on Facebook and Discord as well. Until next week, where we see the checkered flag fly for the final time over a 10-week season of the GT3 Championship. Stay safe out there, take care, and of course, we'll see you back for the finale at Bathurst.